Hey everyone, it's Tim with Horror Movie Yearbook. I just want to take a look at a few movies that are out this week in theaters, on streaming, on VOD. I know it's tough for me at least, to keep track of when everything is coming out, where it's coming out, with the abundance of options that we are all presented with every day. So I can't promise that this is going to be weekly or even an exhaustive list. I might miss a couple here and there because that's the thing, keeping track of things. Stuff will come out this week. It'll just drop on some service. But I want to take a look at a few movies that are out this week. And then at the end, I'm going to give you my pick for the week. So here we go. Let's take a look at some movies in theaters, on streaming, on VOD, all that good stuff. First up this week, out on Tuesday the 11th on Tubi, is Lowlifes. Not a ton of information out there on this movie from what I could find. It is a Tubi exclusive, and I have learned in the past couple of weeks not to just automatically hand wave those, as I did enjoy both You Shouldn't Have Let Me In and Camp Hosts, which were Tubi exclusives as well. This is directed by Tesh Gadakonda, who wrote the Shudder exclusive Influencer, which I believe popped up on Shudder last year. That is a movie that, like a lot of Shudder exclusives, I found things to like, but it didn't fully click for me. This is written by Al Kaplan, who has worked as a composer on Terrifier 2 and Critters: A New Binge. He also co-wrote Critters: A New Binge and co-wrote Zombievers. Here's the plot description. All hell breaks loose when a vacationing family gets stuck in town and stays with some locals. There you go, that's it. That's all I've got for now. It's on Tubi this week, the 11th, so it's free and it will only cost your time. So best of luck to you. Also out on the 11th in limited theaters and on VOD is All You Need Is Death. A young couple who collect rare folk ballads discover the dark side of love when they record and translate an ancient taboo folk song from the deep, forgotten past. An ancient taboo folk song. There you go. So if you need a break from creature features this month, because we've got some coming up, and you need some good old-fashioned folk horror, this seems like it might be the movie for you. This is directed by Irish filmmaker Paul Duane, whose work I'm not familiar with. It does star the awesome Owen Fourier, who you may know from Mandy, The Northman, or the latest Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, the Netflix one. I watched the trailer for this. I thought it looked alright. Folk horror is not my bag, honestly, but if it is yours, be sure to check this movie out on April 11th. Friday, April 12th, this is the big day this week, so let's kick things off in theaters with Sting. After raising an unnervingly talented spider in secret, 12-year-old Charlotte must face the facts about her pet and fight for her family's survival when the once charming creature rapidly transforms into a giant, flesh-eating monster. I watched the trailer for this a couple months back, and I was super into the trailer, and then I kind of forgot about it until now. This stars Jermaine Fowler, who recently starred in last year's horror sleeper hit The Blackening, and it's written and directed by Kaya Roche-Turner, who is known for the Wormwood movies. He also directed Necrotronic, which is an absurdist genre mashup from 2018. All of Roche-Turner's movies so far, they wear their influences on their sleeve, and as he is Australian, they do feature a bit of that off-kilter Aussie humor that is prevalent in a lot of Ozploitation flicks and Aussie cinema in general. I think you can see a little bit of that in the trailer as well, and while there are only a few reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, it's sitting at about 60%, which seems about right. It seems like that off-kilter sense of humor might be the case with Sting as well. Carla Hay from Culture Mix called it an intentionally campy horror film, and it's a mostly skillful blend of gruesome and comical. That is out in theaters this week on the 12th. Let's keep the creature feature train rolling, but we're going to switch over to VOD with Larry Fessenden Blackout. A fine arts painter is convinced that he's a werewolf wreaking havoc on a small American town under the full moon. This stars Coach Schneider himself, Marshall Bell. Bell, of course, was not only in Nightmare on Elm Street 2, but also Total Recall as Kawato, as well as The X-Files, Tales from the Crypt, Starship Troopers. He's a very good, hey, I've seen him before, actor. This movie has a very nice cast in addition to Marshall Bell. It also features Kevin Corrigan, the legendary Barbara Crampton, and brother of Steve, Michael Buscemi. Blackout is written and directed by independent horror movie icon Larry Fessenden, and it's another entry in the growing Fessenden monsterverse that includes such movies as his 1997 film Habit, 2001's Wendigo, and 2019's Depraved. This is a movie that's been running the festival circuit for a while. It's sitting at 81% on Rotten Tomatoes with over 30 reviews. But if you read into it a little closer, a lot of them are mixed positive. It's received good, if not great reviews, which actually makes me more excited for it. Megan Navarro of Bloody Disgusting said of Blackout, "Those expecting a more straightforward, conventional werewolf movie won't find it here. Instead, Fessenden offers a veritable, funny, sometimes sluggish, yet poignant slice of life with a violent and bloody horror twist." Blackout is on VOD on April 12th. Okay, back to theaters now, and we're going to talk about Arcadian, which is also out on Friday the 12th. This movie played South by Southwest a couple months back, and it got some good buzz coming out of it. It currently sits at 91% on Rotten Tomatoes with 23 reviews. Arcadian stars Nic Cage as a father who, along with his teenage sons, fights to survive in a remote farmhouse at the end of the world. One of the teenage sons is played by Jaden Martell, who played young Bill Denbrough in Andy Muschietti's It. This is written by Michael Nylan, who has become a frequent collaborator with Nic Cage, having produced recent Cage vehicles like Willy's Wonderland and The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. The director is Benjamin Brewer, who wrote the Netflix movie Reptile starring Benicio del Toro and Alicia Silverstone. He also did digital effects for Everything Everywhere All at Once, so he's responsible for the hot dog fingers, maybe? I have been into a lot of Cage's recent work, particularly his recent genre work. Willy's Wonderland was fun. I love Mandy in Color Out of Space. Matt Donato of Daily Dead called Arcadian a damn good monster mash supported by plenty of sufficient enough establishing family dramatics. I pulled Matt Donato's quote because I've always liked his reviews, even if I disagree with him, and his review is pretty level-headed. 7 out of 10 is what he gave it. Festival horror reviews are tough, not because I think people are liars or wrong, but because a lot of the reviewers aren't steeped in horror movies. Donato is. That's why I try to gravitate to horror-specific reviewers when it comes to these movies that get good buzz out of festivals. Arcadian got that good buzz and is out this Friday in theaters. There are just 2 more movies coming out in theaters that I want to touch on real quick because they are maybe more horror-adjacent than straightforward horror. The first one is Alex Garland's final film as a director, for now, Civil War. Garland, of course, wrote 28 Days Later, Sunshine. He directed Ex Machina, Annihilation, and Men. I really like 2 of those movies. Civil War is about a journey across a dystopian future America, following a team of military embedded journalists as they race against time to reach DC before rebel factions descend upon the White House. Some controversy in this movie going along with it. It also played South by Southwest. It got interesting and good reviews. For example, Sidhant Anlaka said Civil War is an upsetting sensory experience accompanied by thundering cacophonies and paralyzing scenes of war and savagery so vast, intense, and overwhelming that you can practically taste the gunpowder lingering in the air. That movie is out this Friday. The other movie out in theaters this Friday is called In Flames from Canadian-Pakistani writer and director Zarar Khan. After the death of the family patriarch, a mother and daughter's precarious existence is ripped apart. They must find strength in each other if they are to survive the malevolent forces that threaten to engulf them. Variety said of In Flames that it finally straddles the line between a bold genre exercise and a bruising portrait of contemporary Pakistan to deliver a welcome story about resistance and resilience. So there you go. That's everything that I could find that's out this week. All right, and those are the movies that are coming out this week. What am I watching this week? Well, theaters are out of the question for me right now. I have a 1-year-old at home, but at some point, I'm going to check out Sting and Arcadian. I think Arcadian will be on Shudder eventually, so I'll wait for that one to hit there. I will be renting Larry Fessenden's Blackout. I'm currently doing a kind of crash course on Fessenden right now and hopefully putting something together either for here on YouTube or for the podcast. But I want to check it out anyway. So Blackout is what I will be watching this week. What about you? What are you watching? Feel free to let me know in the comments below. And if you want to keep track of horror movies that are coming out every week, please subscribe and like and share all that good stuff. Thanks for watching.